operational reliability, I mean, we often take for granted that we can flip a switch and the lights come on, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. John?
So operational reliability or system reliability essentially is something that we take very serious. We want to keep the power consistent, reliable. We want your lights to be on as much as you want them on. So this is our attempt and what we do to control things that we can control. We take data from different departments. We take data from the outage side. We take data from the special equipment department, and we take that, put it all together, and create this master plan, so to speak. But essentially, for system reliability, one of the foundational pieces that we utilize is our right-of-way program. And this is Nick. I'd like him to explain a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, so our right-of-ways go across a lot of different areas, a lot of different terrains. They have many trees across our power system. So what we utilize is an IVM program, and that's integrated vegetation management. And that includes multiple management techniques and methodologies to maintain the vegetation across our right-of-way. So we're very proud of it. It's a robust program, and you know, it's a big job to keep the lights on.
So what's all in the program?
Yeah, so we try to start on a 5-year cycle. We try to average a 5-year cycle, so we want to touch every bit of the right-of-way every 5 years. And that will include mechanical clearing, manual clearing, selective herbicide applications, and so we'll come through and target only the woody stem vegetation. We want the grasses, we want the forbs, we want all the wildlife to enjoy some of that low growing shrubs, so we're not after that. We also utilize TGR. Those are in the more urban areas, the more condensed areas, so we'll come in and inject TGR, which is a tree growth regulator. What that does is it kind of reallocates the growth of the tree away from our power line and redirects it to the roots and the trunk of the tree. So it really helps us out on our cycle maintenance.
So what do you do if something happens outside of that cycle?
Yeah, and we do have trees, what I call cycle busters. They may be faster growing trees than other trees, and we have to address it before our cycle is up, you know, that 5th year. So we'll come out and trim it. And there's a lot of those across the system. We have a lot of dead trees that pop up. We have storms that may happen through the summer that we have to dress up some areas. So it's an ongoing management every day.
Nick, I did want to tell you that in dispatch part of it, I have noticed the decline in tree outages since you've started this program.
Yes, and that's what we're after. We're wanting to get some of those areas that had a lot of heavy growth and get them trimmed back so you don't have as many outages.
So the shorter cycle's working.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, there's a lot in addition to that preventative maintenance that goes into the preventative maintenance of our actual system. So tell us a little bit about that, Mark.
Yeah, so once a month we do a check of all of our special equipment. So we'll start at the substation and we'll do a visual check of, we're looking for maybe some animal damage or something from lightning possibly, looking for bad arresters, and you know, we're gonna give it a good visual of everything inside the substation, and we're also looking for possibly vandalism. You know, copper theft is a big thing, so we're checking the perimeter, looking at the fences and the gates, making sure that nobody's broke in there. From there, we're gonna go out each feeder and we're gonna check our voltage regulators and our capacitor banks, and we're going to take a record of those, a digital record. We're going to run it, make sure it's running. We're going to take our readings. We're going to get our high amp readings. We're going to get our voltage levels, and we're going to give that information to our engineering department so they can study that.
You said high, low. I think people just think the power's on or it's off. There's a quality issue there?
Well, our lines can be kind of long in places, so we want to make sure that that first member outside the substation that has a certain level of voltage has the same as the person at the end of the line. So at strategic places that engineering has decided to put a voltage regulator on the line, as it starts to dip, that voltage regulator is going to pick that voltage back up and carry it to the end of the line.
Is that when people have blinks, or how does that work?
No, that's not going to be the same thing as a blink. So a blink is going to be, say, a fault, and a fault is an overcurrent. Overcurrent is bad on our lines, so our OCRs are going to operate and shut that line off for just a second to extinguish that overcurrent or that arc. And if it doesn't do that, it's going to continue to grow and build heat and cause damage to a lot of our equipment, which is really expensive, and it protects the members' equipment. keeps the line from burning down, and it's a safety issue. So unfortunately, blinks are a necessary evil. It's something that makes our system operate properly, and we want to keep them to a complete minimum.
So you said OCR, and what is that again?
It's an oil circuit recloser. It's kind of like a breaker in your house that is going to shut that off when it sees that overcurrent. And
So-
it's going to do it multiple times before it trips out, locks out, and has an outage that we have to go out and manually reset it.
Okay. So you're looking at right away, you're looking at the preventative maintenance, system checks, and that's, you're saying on a monthly cycle, but then it all kind of starts and stops in dispatch, really. That's how we pinpoint our outages. Can we tell us about that process?
Sure, sure. So like Mark was saying, he was talking about blinks, which are faults. And so I take that information from our SCADA, and then I take that sub and that feeder and I'll put it into another program that goes out and reads all the meters on that sub and feeder through our AMR system. As the information comes back or not come back, the ones that don't come back reading, that's generally the ones that are out. And then from there, that's where I can build an outage. Sometimes our members call in and they'll report the outage before the meter reading job is done. And that helps me because I can read that meter singly and then go and expand reading other meters and create an outage much quicker in order to get the guys out there much quicker for them.
The SCADA, you said, though, that's the main system that watches everything. And
Yes.
what does SCADA stand for? We've got a lot of acronyms.
It
Yes.
stands for System Control and Data Acquisition.
Okay. Okay, the SCADA system, your eyes and your ears, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah. But I have to say also, with the preventative maintenance that Mark and his team does with the breakers outside of the substation, help make that system a lot more accurate for us to be able to pinpoint those outages. But I also want to make sure that our members know that when they call us with something they've seen or something they've heard, we're able to get out there a lot more quicker and restore that power a lot more quicker for our members. So they're actually our eyes and our ears also, and if they report that information correctly to us, then we can get them power restored.
So they're essentially part of the team.
Yes,
So-
very much so.
They don't necessarily have to talk to somebody in dispatch, even though you guys are there 24/7, 365.
Right.
They don't have to talk to somebody to report an outage.
That's right. Since now that we have the IVR system and we have the Smart Hub, that helps our, exactly, yeah, that helps that information come to us more quickly instead of sitting there on hold. But we do, as that information comes in, we can look at that information and we can see the comments and we can see and listen to the voicemails and be able to relay that information to our crews that are out there trying to find that where the outage is occurring.
So every call, every message on Smart Hub, any voicemail, you log all of those to help essentially cultivate a better plan to give our line crews when they're going out in an outage.
And when the information is correct and spot on, it's a win-win for everybody.
So you kind of start and stop that process when there is an outage. So you're calling the crews. How does that work?
So yeah, I have to give the guys a call, and sometimes it's late at night, but I try to give them whatever information that they want so that as they're driving to the office, they can maybe create a game plan, in their head. If they would need to call a second crew, they generally want to know how many people are out. But once they get to the office, then they can get out to the outage and restore it. Once that power is restored, they'll call back and ask me to do a second read to make sure that we do have everybody back on.
Well, and I know all of that information is so important because it gives us the data that we need to move forward. How does that work, John?
So we take all these pieces of data. We take it from every department, like outage data, for example. We take that and we put that into a certain category, which helps us continue to refine that process. I mean, keep in mind that we are continually trying to improve, get better, more efficient, quicker response time. the information that we get from Mark's department, very critical, as well as the information that we get from the right-of-way department. We take all these pieces of information, we put them together, and this essentially guides our path. We take this information, like we'll share it with our engineering department, and they're allowed to build their construction work plan, which is something that is a very, very long-term, many-year process on how to keep up with the trends, stay ahead of the curve, so to speak. That allows myself and the people within the cooperative to make long-range plans, which have huge impacts financially, you know, as far as just personnel-wise, what does it look like going forward? All these pieces of information give us the opportunity to make sound, economical decisions for the cooperative and the membership.
So that strategy helps us maintain our core system and then look for new growth in the future, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing today about how we help keep our members connected.